Well, the Bank of Israel was the first major central bank to raise rates at the first signs of a global recovery. That was back in August. So far, Israel's export-driven economy looks to be on track for a rebound. Just today, we are seeing Israel's Tel Aviv 25 headed to its highest close in 15 months. So where can we find opportunities investing in Israel right now? Hanna Pri-Zan of Bank Hapoalim is here in studio with us now. Bank Hapoalim, the second largest bank in Israel. Thanks so much for coming into studio. Big day, 15-month high. What's driving that?
I think mainly the economy. And the economy is driven by two main factors. One of them is the global economy, which is recovering, as you said before. And also internally, we have growth of the private consumers. We have low interest rate. We have a rise in the real estate sector. So these are things that drive the economy forward. Mm-hmm. Also, people feel very, very confident because the fact that the equity market is going up. Actually, it went up over 70% from the beginning of 2009. And in some sectors, it's above 100%.
Mm-hmm. Now, tech makes up about half of Israel's exports, right? So we got to ask the question of what a weak dollar means due to that. Yes. Stanley Fischer of your central bank has been an interventionist to try to keep the shekel competitive here. What's the outlook about the impact of the U.S. dollar on that?
I think that reading the economical newspaper, listening to you, it's very, very, I don't know to predict. But I think that we will overcome this because the whole world is looking at what is happening to the dollar. Mm-hmm. And of course, as you said, it will have a very tremendous effect on the export of Israel. But you know, for me, coming to New York, shopping became very, very cheap.
There's your upside for you, just, and not so much for us when we travel overseas.
Yes.
I do want to ask you, because whenever we discuss Israel, there's always the question there of geopolitics, the impact internally, political security as well. Back in the spring, the Israeli Manufacturers Association did report that boycotts in Europe of Israeli products were hitting manufacturers in Israel, and that was related to violence in Gaza on behalf of the Israeli military. How real is that?
I don't think it's so crucial, but I think this government in Israel now, the Netanyahu government, is very practical. And from reading the newspaper, I think that they are very strict to move forward the peace process. And I hope it will turn out to the good. You know, I said that I have a small dream, and the small dream is to be able to provide our client in Israel, both institutional and private, the ability to trade in the Arab countries. Why should they trade only in the US, in Europe? So if I live to see that, I'm all set.
You're an optimist there.
Yeah, I mean, to live in Israel, if you're not an optimist, you cannot survive.
There's a lot of questions now on the economic front about how that's going to play into peace negotiations. Netanyahu, you mentioned, has been promising economic improvements in the West Bank. How key is that to your business? I mean, how much do you factor in the possibility of improved trade?
We are looking forward to improve trade because we think it's very, very essential for the economy. And as I told you, I hope it will turn out for the good. I can give you a small story. As you know, everybody's talking about the Gaza Strip, but on the other side was Sderot. Sderot was bombed for 8 years, but our branch there did tremendously good because the people, by the end of the day, people like to work, people like to produce, and they don't like wars. So I hope it will be the same for everybody in the Middle East, in the whole world.
All right. Well, we will continue to follow this story. Thank you so much for joining us here in studio.